Coordinators that works at Mid-State Technical College. Today I am joined by Mid-State's Foundation and Alumni Director, Jill Steckbauer, and she's going to give us some tips and tricks on applying for scholarships. Jill, let me turn it over to you.
Thank you, Morgan. I really appreciate it. First of all, I want to welcome all of you who are viewing this presentation. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to either Morgan or myself at any time during this process. There's a lot of information that we're going to share, but the good news is that there's a lot of money for you as a student to earn through a scholarship application. I just wanted to let you know that scholarships actually are free money for students to attend college. Last year, the Mid-State Foundation awarded 406 scholarships, totaling nearly $276,000. When you think about that, the average award for students is anywhere from $500 to $1,000, but most of our scholarships are anywhere from $200 to $10,000, depending on what scholarship it is. So please don't be discouraged. Please apply for scholarships. The other thing that I wanted to share is that our scholarships, we have scholarships for almost every program that Mid-State carries. Also, we have scholarships for students that choose to go part-time versus full-time. We have full-time scholarships. We also have scholarships for students that are very active in the community. We have scholarships that are associated with GPA. But keep in mind, GPA is not the be-all, end-all for every scholarship. Every student can apply. It doesn't matter where you're coming out of high school. The one thing I like to remind students of, most occupations do not ask for your transcript for when you apply for a job. So your GPA is important to you, and yes, it's important to the program depending on what program you're going into, but understand our donors believe that everybody should be eligible for a scholarship. So we have the broad base understanding that all scholarships and all students should be able to achieve one of our scholarships. The other thing that I wanted to share with you, since we're mostly talking to the high school students, we have a scholarship window specifically for you guys coming out of high school. But in addition to that, once you get these essay questions written that we're going to talk about later in the program, please save them in a Word document, as they can be used to apply for the new and continuing application that opens up later in the year for the same semester. We had last year, out of the high school population, $33,000 going to just high school seniors. They also applied for scholarships in that new and continuing application, and they received an additional $14,000. And then some of you might have heard of the Wisconsin Technical Excellence scholarships that are available. And with that, we had 5 students receive almost $34,000. So as you can see, there's significant amount of money for students in the high school arena to not only take advantage of the high school applications that Mid-State has, but as well as the new and continuing for the same fall semester. So please make sure that you take the time to fill out the applications and so forth. The next slide, we'll talk about our high school scholarship window. Keep in mind, we do this early so we can award, actually present each and every one of you that receive a scholarship at your high school awards ceremony in spring before you graduate. So our application opens December 14th. You might ask, why are we opening it then? We heard a lot of feedback from the high school students and their parents saying, hey, our kids would like to fill out these applications and have time to think about it over holiday break. So with that, we open it December 14th and we close it January 8th. At that point, we send it into a review cycle, which we are very proud of the fact that every application gets reviewed a minimum of 3 times, and an average aggregate score is given to each application. It's completely anonymous. So when you are answering your questions, please make sure you don't put your personal name in any of the essays. Otherwise, we cannot control that it is truly anonymous. So therefore, we want to make sure that you write your essay answers so we can keep them anonymous. We also work really diligently to be able to notify the students early February of their award. And the reason why we do that is that way it gives you plenty of time to actually do your post-acceptance. Our system pretty much allows you will get an email sharing that you have been offered an award, you have to accept that, and then you'll get a second email saying, please put in a thank you. So there's multiple steps to this, but it's very intuitive and so forth. And if you're notified by February 3rd, we will work with your high schools on your awards presentation ceremony date and time, and we will personally come and present it, especially if COVID is over. We would like nothing more than to present it personally to you. And then it will be a split award between our fall semester and our spring semester.
Jill, on average, how much do students who apply to this window receive?
The total award window is about $75,000 that we award strictly to high school students that we control. And then on top of the Tech Excellence, it's significantly more.
Awesome, thank you.
And like I was saying before, as a high school student, not only do you qualify for that high school window specific, but our new and continuing student scholarship window opens April 14th. So what that means, if you've already answered the essay questions for the high school application and saved them, 3/4 of your work is complete. This window for new and continuing scholarships is our largest scholarship window that we offer annually because it's split between fall and spring semester as well. So I encourage you, if you've taken the time to apply for the high school window, save those essays and resend April 14th. You'll still be in high school, but this is for the fall semester that you'll be starting after graduation. This window we have about 5 weeks for students to apply, and we notify all of our winners or our awards by July 6th. That way we can have you spend the summertime to write your thank yous, your post acceptance, and then you're ready for the scholarship reception come fall when we all reconvene at the campus for classes in August. So this is a great window. Last year, this window produced about $250,000 in scholarships to students. So I encourage you also to keep this option open when you're looking at scholarships.
So it really benefits the students to save their answers because they can refine their answers and then just copy and paste it into the new application, correct?
It does. It does. What we have been finding is even if you change, if something has happened in your life from December to April and you just want to modify that question, you already have the skeleton there and the nuts and bolts that you want to say, and just all you have to do is add and edit it, whereas you don't have to rethink about how you wanted to answer that question. Awesome. It saves a lot of time.
We'll go through the questions in a little bit, but really it's going to be beneficial to any scholarships, not just mid-state, but community scholarships as well.
Mm-hmm. The questions that we ask on our applications are similar to most scholarship essay questions across the country. We pulled some of the best questions that got the best responses as far as more engagement with students to really share their story. It's really critical that we hear your story in words. And the reason for that is our reviewers get a sense of who you are and what you want to accomplish and where you're going and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really important that you think about it. So we're giving you these essay questions early, even though the window doesn't open until December 14th for high school students. But you can work on them now and save them and fine tune them and go to your advisors and counselors and so forth and ask them to review them to see if it makes sense to them as somebody reviewing it. They can give you pointers on grammar, punctuation, or even just the context as far as this is what I'm trying to say, but I'm not sure how to pull the words together. They can help you with that.
That's a great idea. Jill, you've mentioned that each application is reviewed 3 times. Can you share who the reviewers are?
We are very fortunate that we have probably about 60 reviewers that are from a broad base, from our board members at the foundation to our staff to outside volunteers just wanting to review applications. We even have some essays that the donor is reviewing them also on their own as part of one of the reviewer scores. So it's really important to us that you think about the audience in which you're writing to for this scholarship and know that they really do care about your whole story. And the more detail that you can provide, the better the outcome typically is. Our reviewers continually tell us that they are just blown away by the stories and the obstacles and the successes that students have had throughout their entire formative years in what they have been able to accomplish. And now they're going to college, and now they are looking to, pay for college without student loan debt and so forth. So they really appreciate the essays that really dig deep into that story about who you are and what makes you tick.
Awesome. So if students receive an award, what's next, Jill?
Well, the students are, once we go through, what happens is after all the reviewer scores are in, I'm the only person that actually gets to see the names of the students. And I go through and I verify that the student that scored the highest or the lowest, depending on what criteria is, because we have some that want a student middle of the road. So we have to look at that manually. So based on that, then I go back and verify with all the qualifications, whether you are full-time, part-time. If you haven't registered for your classes yet, because most high school students won't, we don't take credit loan into account right at that moment. We take it into account towards the fall semester after you have registered. But you get notified by email through your mid-state email. So after you have done this, you will have a mid-state email that you will be checking from time to time. It's the same network login as you do for this scholarship application. And you will be sent an email saying, hey, you have been offered a scholarship. It is now time to accept it in order to continue with the process. And you have to accept it. And then a second email is generated after you accept it. And in that second email, it says, we thank the donor. You have to write a thank you to the donor. You have to do a thank you to the foundation for the opportunity to have these scholarships on the application. We ask you to upload a photo of yourself. And then if there's any specific requirements for the scholarship reception or for the scholarship in general, some of them at that time would require a letter of recommendation. At that point, you would ask to be uploaded that. And then once all that's done, you would hit submit. And then that would be it. We would take it from there. We would take your thank you notes and forward them on to the donor. We'd send the thank you notes for the foundation onto our foundation board. We meet 4 times a year. So I bring copies of the thank yous to our board members from students as well, just to let them know that the money is going to good homes and that have drive and dedication and grit to get through your college experience.
Now, Jill, sometimes plans change and students decide to go to another institution. So if they receive an email saying that they've received an award and they choose not to accept it, what action do the students need to take?
Well, at that point, there is an option to not accept it. I think this year we are including in that process, if they don't accept it, an explanation. So that way we know that they have chosen to go to another institution. And then we actually re-award that because it's early enough yet in the process. Now, if you accept it and it comes down to 2 weeks before class starts and you decide, okay, I really do want to go to this other institution, you then need to make you need to send the information to your advisor, high school, outreach coordinator, your academic advisor here at the college or the foundation office, and just let them know that your plans changed and you won't be needing the scholarship here. We cannot award the scholarships to students that aren't attending mid-state.
Perfect, thank you. So when it comes to applying, here are the things that students need, correct?
Correct. You have to have an active program application. So when you apply to mid-state for admissions, on there it asks for your program name and so forth in there. So it's better if you can list a program, 1 or 2 choices that you're thinking about versus undecided. If it's undecided, sometimes it's hard for us to match them up to the program specific scholarships that are out there. So if you're unsure, if you have 1, 2, or 3 different thoughts in mind, put all 3 of them on your application to mid-state, because then that way, when it comes time to setting up appointments with academic advisors and so forth to finalize a schedule, you at least have some ID there. And then our system will automatically match you to the scholarships associated with those programs. So we will verify that at the end that yes, you are actually enrolled in it once you can enroll in classes. But that gives us a better way of matching you up to the scholarships. Your student login information is the same as your My Campus and network login here at Midstate. So it keeps it very simple. It's a single sign-on and you can enter everything into the system. And then you just answer 5 easy scholarship questions. They're thought-provoking questions, but we ask you to really be as thorough as possible on them.
Perfect. Excuse me. And if students have any questions on how to apply, what programs they're looking for, or their login information, they can reach out to their outreach coordinator. That's what we're here to help with. So we'd be happy to sit down and walk through the application process with you, and then work with getting your 8-digit student ID and your generic login information, which really leads us into the next slide. If you haven't logged in before, you're going to need an 8-digit student ID, and that's located on your acceptance letter that you'll receive in the mail. But you can also reach out to your outreach coordinator and we can provide you with that 8-digit student ID number. It's unique to you and you'll use it to log in and to your email, to your campus computer, and it becomes kind of like a second name for you when you're on campus at Midstate. You'll also need your generic password. If you haven't logged in before, that passphrase is going to be the first 2 letters of your first name, capital first letter, first 2 letters of your last name, again, capital first letter, last 4 of your social security number, followed by Midstate in all lowercase. If you applied without your social security number, it's going to be the last 4 of your student ID. So those are all important things for you to know. But again, if you're having questions, you can always reach out to your outreach coordinator. And you can see on this slide is an example. So Midstate Cougars password would be capital M, lowercase I, capital C, lowercase o, 1, 2, 3, 4, lowercase Midstate. And that's all one word as your password to get into either the computers on Midstate or Academic Works to apply for scholarships.
And before you can continue, they'll ask you to redo your password. Won't let you continue once you use the generic. So you'll need to make sure that you write down this 16-digit passphrase of yours that you change it to so you can log in the future.
Yep. Again, it does have to be 16 characters. You'll change it once every year, but something that means something to you and is more challenging for others to guess because this is your password to all of your Midstate documents.
The scholarship application can be found at Midstate or mstc.academicworks.edu, or you can log into mstc.edu and go to the scholarships tab and the link is right in there. So it will automatically take you. It's very simple, but if you're having any challenges with logging in, like Morgan said, either reach out to your outreach coordinators on campus. And if you can't get a hold of them, you can always reach out to the foundation office. We can help walk you through it.
Perfect.
This is a sheet. This is like from the actual portal, the scholarship portal. This is a sign-in sheet. As you see up in the upper right-hand corner, it says sign in. That is where you actually click on, and it will take you to another screen that says sign in with your Midstate login. And once you click there, you are going to enter in that your ID at, is it my.midstate.edu? Or is that just Midstate? It should just
be at mstc.edu.
So it's your ID at mstc.edu and then your passphrase that you had just created in the password line. That's what you need to do. And then you hit sign in.
Here's just a password reminder.
This is just a password reminder. And then when you hit sign in, it brings you to the application process, which asks for your name, first name, last name, high school year of graduation. And so you're going to definitely want to put in the date that you're anticipating graduating in May or June. And then you'll answer the questions. You can save and keep editing as you want if you need to come back. But as soon as you hit finish and submit, it's locked and you're not going to be able to go back and edit anything on the application. If you save and keep editing down the road, make sure that you put a tickler in your planners that it needs to be fully submitted by that January 8th deadline. Otherwise, you will miss the opportunity to submit in that window. There are 5 questions for you to consider. And that the first one is, what do you expect to gain from earning a college degree from Mid-State Technical College? This question can be answered simply by, like, why did you choose Mid-State? What attracted you to it? You know, and what do you expect to gain? Is it the smaller class sizes? Is it just a great education? It's the hands-on learning. What are those things that are important to you as you're earning your college degree at Mid-State? This is an area where you can actually think about not definites, but just dream, like, what do you expect to gain from this college degree? Is it a good job? Is it money to pay for a house? You know, you can be as creative as you want with this. And it's just a short essay. It's not that long. So it's limited to 500 words. So it can be anywhere from 200 to 500, what have you. Just really think about why you chose Mid-State and what you hope to gain with that earning your college degree in general.
Jill, I often get the question, do I need to use all 500 words?
No, you don't need to use all 500 words. This is our max because we want to be respectful of our reviewers' time on our essays, and these were established based on how much time we wanted them to spend with each application. So this is a great length for them to get a feel for what you expect to gain with your degree.
But as long as students are answering the question as a whole.
As a whole, it doesn't need to be 500 words.
Perfect.
The second question is, what are your goals after you graduate from college? At this moment in time, you may not really realize what your goals are. But in the grand scheme of things, we all have goals, and I like to call them big, audacious goals, the ones that you think are completely out of reach, but you want to put that on the horizon so they're never out of sight. This is where you can put those goals. Whether it is you want to, you know, go into health information or what have you and learn about yourself and healthy lifestyle and so forth, and someday you want to climb Mount Everest because you have this degree and you can now attack it, or you just want to be able to support your family, be debt free, buy your first brand new car after college. This is where you want to talk about those goals, your personal goals for after college. You know, some people say, I just want to graduate and get a job. Explain why you just want to do that. Is it because you have a family to support? Is it because you want to change your trajectory for you and your future generations? Maybe you want to be the next president of the United States. These could all be great goals in this slide for what are your goals after graduation. This will show our reviewers that you have aspirations of something other than just today. It shows aspirations for the future, aspirations not only for you, but also for significant people around you that you can impact.
And I imagine our reviewers are looking for not only what the goals are, but how those goals are going to be accomplished. So what steps students are doing today and plan to do tomorrow and in the future to make sure that they're able to reach that goal.
Correct. They are looking for those steps as well. But keep in mind, when you write those down, as you move on with life, those goals and steps may change. And that's what the beauty of having this written down and saved. So as your life's journey changes and manifests itself, your goals can change and so forth. At this time in your life, a certain goal may be accomplished by working hard, studying hard, saving so much of your paycheck for the next big purchase or what have you. But the next goal may be, I have found that I truly am embracing the health and wellness program and I want to be a better me. And in order to do that, I'm going to take it step by step. So in 2 years, 5 years, I'm going to do this with my myself and my program and my graduating degree and so forth. So it can morph. Use this as an area that can constantly change. This essay can constantly change based on how you're hitting your goals and the steps to get them.
Great. So question 3, how will you impact your desired field or industry?
Well, you know, a lot of students ask, I don't know exactly what you're asking. Number one, I'm not really sure. I'm undecided as far as which program I'm going to go into at this point. But you picked 2 or 3 programs that you put in your application. So look at those programs that you pick and think, okay, if you were going to impact this in the future after your degree, how do you think you could do that? What made you decide to choose that? Because obviously you wanted to make an impact in there for some reason. Maybe you cared for a loved one that was in a nursing home and you want to impact the healthcare industry and you want to do it in a way that makes the family members feel wanted and welcome. Imagine how you would impact the industry if you were living in another COVID and you can't see your loved ones. What can you do to impact that industry in the future if we have another pandemic? That's where what they're looking for. They're looking at that creative solution solving desires in students' minds on how you personally are thinking you can impact your field or industry.
Very cool. Question 4 really focuses on the student and their story, as you to earlier. So students are to write a short autobiography, including information about your family, work experience, community involvement, hobbies, spare time, activities, and what you hope to do in the future, which is a lot. So what would you encourage students to start with?
Well, I think you want to start with what you have currently done, especially from a high school perspective. Talk about your family and how they've helped you get to where you are in your high school career. Let people know if you were working while you're going to school. Let them know, have you volunteered? How many volunteer hours have you done in your high school career? And do you have any hobbies? Let's say you have volunteered 400 hours and been very successful and you've worked a part-time job and you still got, you know, B average A's for a grade. But in your spare time, you like to run, or maybe one of your hobbies is to color in coloring books. That's a stress reliever. Share all of that. And then also talk about how you envision your family and work experience, community involvement, hobbies to change as you grow with your career and grow with your education. That's what they want to see. They want to see how your life's path has taken here. We encourage you to really be specific here. You don't have to share family names. If you're talking about your family, you can talk mom, dad, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters. You don't have to put names in there, and we encourage you not to keep it anonymous. But you can talk about, hey, I volunteer with the United Way Community Day. I rake yards for the senior citizens, or I help serve tables at the neighborhood table, because I think it's important that we recognize that homeless and less privileged people are in our communities. Or maybe you volunteered at the food pantry. That's all information that is critical and for our reviewers, because they want to really get a sense of who you are and your core values and your core experiences. This helps shape your future success by knowing a little bit about what you did to get to this point.
Great. And our last question, question 5, describe why you want to or need to receive a scholarship.
So this question for students, Morgan, is broad-based, and we have gotten so many answers. You know, some people want to receive a scholarship to help relieve the burden on their parents for what they're paying. They want to have a part of paying for the college experience. Some of the need may be, you know, my parents don't have much and I have 3 siblings and I really need this because I'm not getting much financial aid. I also don't want to work 3 jobs in order to pay for my college education, but it's important for me to get through college as debt-free as possible, because I don't want to be paying that back. I saw my parents pay that back for years. Or, hey, I really, you know, want to receive a scholarship because I've given so many hours to community service. I really feel that I could continue to impact those community service by receiving one of those, you know, Lions Club or Rotary Club scholarships and so forth, because that service means something to me. Those are the answers that we, you know, want to hear. You know, you can even talk about the needs. Hey, you know, your financial aid or your savings or your life history has not handed you a real good source of income for education. So you really need it, because this will be the boost in the arm that you need, knowing that somebody else besides my family really wants me to succeed, and donors really want you to succeed. So the more impactful your need or want here is, that means something for our donors and our reviewers.
Great. So those are the 5 questions that students will be asked to complete on both the high school scholarship window and the new and continuing scholarship window. So we really encourage you to work through them in a Word document or a Google document and save them so you can copy and paste and take some work out of applying for more scholarships down the road. If you have any questions, here is my email, so you can always reach out to me at morgan.anderson@mstc.edu. Otherwise, the foundation has their own email, foundation@mstc.edu. You can reach out to either of us, or your academic advisors, your school counselors, and your outreach coordinators are here to help you and answer any questions you have about Midstate, about the scholarship process, the award process, because sometimes that can be tricky navigating your Midstate email for the first time. So we're here to make sure that you have everything you need to be successful.
Yes, and from the foundation perspective and from our donors, we want you to succeed. We want to be here for you, and scholarships is one way we do that. And our donors give dollars each and every day so you can have scholarships. So please, 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 please apply. It's hard to go back to a donor and say, I had nobody apply for their scholarship. So it makes it really fun to be able to give $250,000 away annually for students at Midstate. And keep in mind, that's just our 4 campuses: Adams, Marshfield, Stevens Point, and Wisconsin Rapids. It doesn't matter which campus you're on or which program you're in. We have a scholarship that's available to almost every student.
That's awesome, Jill. $250,000, that's a lot of money. So if students have any questions, there's resources available. We're here to help you. Jill, I appreciate your time and your expertise. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, of course. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.